Thank you for tuning in to TDA TV. We're here with Grant Garner from Lonehollow Whitetails. Grant, thank you very much for having us.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
We're at Jeff and Clayton's place, home of the Deer Summit, home of Lonehollow Whitetails, GXL, G3, G2. Who am I missing?
Gladiator himself.
There we go, Gladiator himself. You know, Lonehollow is a staple in the deer industry. There's no denying that. It is a foundation for so many other ranches. Talk to me a little bit about what goes on here every day.
Okay. Every day is pretty ordinary to most farms. We're going to feed the deer every day. We're going to go in and see every deer, set eyes on every deer every day. We're going to check the health and wellness. That's the day to day. Of course, seasonal, it changes. We go into the fall, we're breeding. We're putting cedars in, pulling cedars. We're doing different breeding programs. In the spring, we're moving mamas, bred mamas, transferring deer to other farms. So it's very seasonal, but from day to day doesn't change very much.
So let's get into the details a little bit about who do you feed? What company?
We feed Purina.
Purina?
Yes, sir. We feed a 18% buck pellet, and then we here in our barn mix molasses and soybean oil and a couple things just to give it our own flavor.
Great. Deer seem to be doing great. We were out there earlier, and they look as healthy as they could be.
Yeah, we're pleased. We think it's worked very well.
Yeah.
Everyone's got their own recipes and ingredients, and we're just trying to find something that works here.
Yeah, so many deer farms do it differently. Are you feeding out of protein feeders, or are you feeding out of troughs? How do you feed, and when do you feed each day?
We feed out of little trough bunk feeders. We feed every single evening. We do the evenings so that the majority of the consumption's at night. So we want to deliver that feed and it be fresh at the time of consumption.
Okay.
So rather than it sit all day long in the sun and when they're not using, we wait, put it out in the evenings so it's fresh for use.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit about how many people you have on a daily basis here. How many employees are here looking after quite possibly one of the larger deer herds in Texas?
We have a lot of employees scattered around. Everyone's got different crews and different jobs. But here in the pens alone, it's usually between 2 and 3 people is all.
Wow. Yourself and 2 others are
That's right, yes, sir.
Are managing them. That's
Yeah.
Fantastic. Tell me, you said about 1,000 deer. Is that how many you have?
Yeah, we have 700 adults, and so once the babies hit the ground, we go over 1,000.
Wow, that's phenomenal. How buck to doe ratio?
We've got more mamas than we do bucks.
And talk a little bit about the age class of your animals. What's your average yearlings, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, and then talk to us a little bit about the old deer you have. You're known for keeping deer alive for a long time, having healthy deer. I know you've got some 10, 12, 13-year-old animals in there as well.
Yeah, so the majority of our bucks, we look to move them at 3. They either find a new home to be a breeder, or we release them in our own preserve. But by 3 years old, we try to move the bucks on unless they're going to stay here and breed. Several of those bucks you've mentioned live right here in this facility. The Gladiator XL, G3, G2. Walking Tall, still 10 years old, still right here. So
we saw him this morning.
Yeah.
He's awesome. Well, good. So does, same. Talk to me about the age class of your does.
The does are different. We've got them all the way into 16, 17 years old.
Wow, Grant, 16, 17 years old.
86C, Gladiator's mom is still here.
That's phenomenal.
Doe 88, one of our foundation does, still here.
Wow.
Some of our original herd foundation stock is still here. There is no age limit on them. They can stay as long as they produce, and they can stay as long as they want.
They can stay as long as they want. So, Grant, a lot of people consider you guys on the forefront of breeding and keeping pedigrees high and intensive breeding management. Talk to me about your breeding program. Let's talk a little bit about what would be your advice to folks getting in the business about their breeding program when they're jump starting their program?
What we try to do here, and what I think most folks are working towards, is You have to breed what your customer likes. You may like a lot of inches and drop tines and whatnot, but if your customer likes a clean typical, it's more beneficial to be breeding towards them. So we try to breed a little bit of everything. We have enough. We breed 400 mamas a year. That allows us to breed several different flavors. We have the typicals, but if we have a customer that comes and he's looking for big inches, we have that as well. So we try to satisfy all different flavors.
Talk a little bit about intensive pedigree management, right? A lot of people know you as a guy who really digs into those pedigrees. How important is that to you?
It's everything. Um, these pedigrees here on this farm, this herd's been functioning for 20 years. Um, that's how deep our pedigrees go at this point. So you take all that into consideration when how to breed this particular mama. You look 20 years ago and you look at the percentage of Texas blood in her. You look at how previous pairings have worked out. What worked, what didn't work. Um, it's it's extremely crucial, and it's we put a lot of time into every single mama that we breed, and what's the best approach.
When you and Jeff and Clayton sit down and discuss pedigrees, um, talk a little bit about how that works. Are you matching the buck to the doe? Are you matching one bloodline to another? How are you managing all of that?
Yeah, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna put a pedigree right in front of us, and we're gonna evaluate. We're gonna ask ourselves, what have we done in the past to this mama? Did it work? Is that something we need to stay away from? Um, we're gonna look at the semen that we planned on breeding this year. Okay, what matches here? What would work here? She usually throws a lot of inches. Maybe we need to bring a typical buck in to clean that up. Um, so we will evaluate every single one extensively.
That's phenomenal. Okay, I'm going to switch gears on you again. Talk to me about the exciting stuff happening here.
Okay. The most exciting, we just pulled off our Texas Deer Summit along with TDA. That was a huge success. It took 6 months of planning every day, and to have the crowd that we did and the feedback we've gotten, we're very pleased.
Yep.
So that was the most exciting thing that we've just recently accomplished. Um, Another thing that we're real proud of is some of the newer technology we've gotten in, and they have a blood test currently for CWD, and that is something we were able to pull off ourselves, pull blood samples, and we've tested 100% of our herd
Wow.
for CWD.
Wow. That's phenomenal. So you're utilizing the new technology out there um, by Sawcore that was able to test the blood, see if the markers were there, and move forward that way. And you tested 100% of them, huh?
That's right, and the state does not recognize that test just yet, but it sure feels good knowing that anywhere we send a deer in the state, we're sending a clean deer.
I think that's a big fact that we sometimes forget is um, it's okay to test your animals, and it's okay. It's something to be proud of to say that you've tested 100% of them, right?
It's a
And
huge feather in your hat.
that's exactly right. And I don't want to miss that. All right, I want to go back to Deer Summit. More than 600 people at a farm. You did pin tours from 7 a.m. until the thing shut down. Um, you had one of the best ranch auctions I've seen in a long, long time, and you made TDA and our association more than $60,000 on behalf of TDA and all its employees. Thank you very much. But I want to tell you, it might be the preeminent farm event in the country. Nobody's doing it like it. Talk about a little bit about the work that goes into that. A lot of people showed up. I mean, I remember getting here at 7:30 in the morning, and there were people waiting to get in. And then not only that, when we by 8:30, Mark Hubbard, our new president, said he counted 200 cars in the parking lot. That's no easy feat to pull off. Talk to me a little bit about the work that goes into that.
It's the same as the events y'all pull off. It takes 6 months. It takes everybody, um, all the way up until the night before. We were still finishing up. It took a ton of work, but it was all worth it. The auction was exciting for the first time to do. Yeah, we were very pleased with how that worked, and we hope everybody else was.
You know, there were a lot of people going through the pens. Um, was there a good buzz about the pens? What were people's feedback? You know, a lot of people worry. Just from a TDA perspective, Grant, we've had conversations internally about moving our convention back because just antlers aren't quite grown out in the middle of August, right? Folks want to see early September and even late August. Um, was the buzz okay about the deer as people were going through the pens?
Yeah, it's great. We assume they're all deer farmers. They understand the deer aren't finished.
Right.
As much as we want to show them finished, we hope everyone understands too. Their deer at home aren't finished. So, um, it is what it is. Being able to put 200 people through your deer pens in one day, that's remarkable. That's several years worth of pen tours accomplished in one day. So that alone was an enough achievement for Lonehollow to continue to do it every year.
Sure. I'm happy to hear you say that. We certainly hope you do it every year. But one of the interesting things that the feedback I got was um, that all of your animals looked healthy and your bucks looked really robust. And I got to tell you, from the little tour we just took, I know I'm walking out on a little bit of a limb here, but it might be the most robust and diverse set of pens that I've been in all year. You guys are doing a phenomenal job here. And I know that there were people at Lonehollow Deer Summit and the TDA birthday that left here wanting to call you guys back. Have you had good interaction after the event with folks?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Good.
Everybody was very appreciative just for hosting. Most everything here was free. It's just a fun day. Um, we don't require anything of them. Just come, enjoy, converse, and that makes it real easy for them.
Sure. Okay, I'm going to jump around on you again. Um, we hosted some interviews throughout the convention this time around, and we heard a common theme, and that common theme was customer service. Talk to me a little bit about how Lonehollow sets itself apart from others in customer service.
That's where Jeff's really good. He's learned, he's been in the business for a long time, and he's learned returning customers is where you make the majority of your money. That first sale is just getting to know somebody. It's when they come back time and time again that you're really actually benefiting. So when things go right, everybody's happy. When things go wrong, is where Jeff separates himself. He steps up and he makes it right because he knows it'll come back to him next time.
Sure. Okay. Um, let's talk a little bit about you. We have two different types of managers in the business. Some folks are full-time managers, and sometimes some folks are checking just deer pins every other day or something. They're not on the property. You're here. You're a full-time manager. There are a lot of other managers that call you for advice. Talk a little bit about good practices, your habits. Give advice to folks out there that are just starting. People just like you that are in the business that are managing very, very, very high capital deer farms out there. Talk a little bit about what tips you would give them and give them some advice.
For me personally, my first day on the job here was August 1st, middle of EHD season. I was thrown into the fire and I had no choice. It was learn on the fly. Um, so many folks helped me, answered my phone calls every day. 5 years later, that's my responsibility is to answer those phone calls now. That's only the right thing to do. Is people have got me where I'm at today. It's only fair to share. So that's that aspect. I'm here every day. I live 100 yards away. We're checking the deer in the morning. We're checking the deer in the evenings. Um, you just can't do too much for these valuable animals. They need the attention. You set your own time apart and you handle your business.
Talk a little bit about your schedule. You're checking deer in the morning, checking deer in the evening. Talk about what you do from an office perspective in the middle of the day.
In the middle of the day, we're returning phone calls. We're answering the phone. We're talking deer with folks. We're sending pedigrees. We're sending pictures of bucks. Um, we're advertising. We're theming and coming up with advertising and getting our name into publications. Um, we're doing our own homework. We're studying our own pedigrees. We're studying our next crop of females. We're tweaking our feed. What can we do next year? It's a constant. Every day, there's not enough hours in the day. Every day.
So I guess what I hear you saying is your advice is don't take time off. Don't sleep.
It's hard to take time off.
It is.
There's always a season. Um, there's always something.
So what's the next season coming about?
The next thing we have going on is moving bucks.
Yep.
And cutting antlers and weaning mamas and babies. So we're going to separate our mamas and babies next month, September. Get all the 3-year-old bucks out and down to the preserve. And in the spare time, start cutting antlers off the younger bucks.
Good, good. A lot of people don't know that you're one of the preeminent breeders in the industry as well, but you have a very phenomenal hunting preserve as well. How much interaction do you have between the hunting preserve and the breeding program?
I personally don't have a lot. My responsibility ends when I deliver those deer. And at that point, Jeff and Omar take over.
Take over.
So I don't spend a lot of time down there. I take the product, and at that point, they carry it from there.
Yeah, that speaks a lot about Jeff and Clayton too, about allowing you the autonomy to run this, and then allowing Omar to go over to the hunting side as well and run his shop as well. So that speaks volumes about you and Omar as well.
Yeah, that's great. It couldn't work any other way, because when my job is done here, that's the time I need to go home. I need to do my own thing, and I don't have the time to go guide a hunt. Yep. I don't have enough spare time to. So I really appreciate them cutting the line and saying, when your job is done, you're done.
Yeah. So let's talk about home. You've got some babies at home.
Yes, sir.
And a beautiful wife. How much are they involved in your work?
The kids are involved every day. My wife works. She's a nurse. She works 3 to 4 days a week. Those kids come with me through these deer pens just about every day. They got booster seats. They sit, and they've seen as much deer as anybody out there.
So it's a family affair, huh?
We have no choice. We've got to do both. So.
Yep, that's phenomenal. I laughed because when I showed up, I saw your booster seat sitting in the gator, and I was like, "Wow, that's fantastic." The kids really do. They get out there and go, huh?
Yeah, they do. It's great here in the herd having GXL. Everybody knows his personality. My son is 3 years old. That's one of his best friends.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. The pictures on Facebook were just priceless, man. Yeah. Your son really has an attachment to that deer,
and it never gets old. We feed him treats and apples, and he gets to hang out, and the deer enjoys it as much as he does, I think.
I was about to say that deer probably deserves a few treats.
Yeah.
Well, folks, thank you very much for tuning in. As we said, we're going to go through the deer pens. We hope you enjoy what you see. We're really excited that Lonehollow was allowed us out here to come film. Grant, thank you so much. Jeff and Clayton, thank you as well. As everybody knows, Lonehollow is a hallmark in our industry. If you haven't had the opportunity to come out, call Grant or Jeff and set up a visit out here. You won't be disappointed, and you'll probably learn a thing or two that'll help you in your own business and at your own farm. Thanks again, and we look forward to seeing the deer.